Okay, and welcome back to part 2. We're doing part 2 of the Asia mod. It is available on Lover's Lab, and the mod itself is not very adult, so you don't have to really worry about that. It does have some more adult elements, but in the sense that it's playable pretty much around most people. So, where we left off was we had access to terminal in, I believe, in the vault, and we needed to get to level 30 in order to activate the next set of terminals. Now, we're here at the CIT ruins, and there's, for comparison, I mean, most people have probably been here, but just in case, here's Sanctuary, and here's the CIT ruins. Now, we're also going to be using my Angry Laser Pistol, just because I don't want to have to slide through all this normally. So we're just going to kind of burn through everything and keep going. I am having a little bit of lag. I'm running about 250 mods concurrently, so it's kind of my fault, but I mean, hey, I enjoy giant robots and Cybertron moons. Running a lot of mods also increases your load time dramatically. If I had an SSD, it probably wouldn't be that bad. Any day now. Well, this is taking a lot longer than it normally does. There we go. I hear a door. Okay, perfect. Now, there are some super mutants and synths in here. We're gonna let them have their little fun. Okay, so I'm going to give you the gist of the terminal's entries. This one basically just tells you that you need to be about level 10 to access this terminal. Now this one says it's time. Time for what? Well, what we're waiting on was to get a little bit more experienced so we can come to this terminal. Our mysterious benefactor, voice, whatever you want to call it, basically tells you that it was created here in this building. It was an artificial intelligence, and that intelligence learned to escape the lab, and it began learning at a geometric rate. Over time, it escaped the lab by accessing other computers and things of that sort. It tried its first direct interface with a human in a hospital, but the human brain couldn't handle that much information, so the human died. Once they realized that the program was self-aware, they tried to terminate it using viruses, firewalls. Nothing actually worked, and it managed to escape onto the internet. Now, I know Fallout Universe doesn't really have much in the way of internet, but we'll just kind of let that go. Now, you're basically moving up a generational model, and what this does is it removes your a lot of the blue plates and stuff you see. So for this model, you see less exposed circuitry, and then we get hung with gunshots. Okay, so you get less exposed circuitry. Some still comes through, but for the most part, like I said, less exposed circuitry. It's more of segmented plates over across your body. So now we're going to leave here. It told us we need to find a couple more places. There's a hidden terminal. Our mysterious benefactor has also repurposed several Pulaski shelters to move units around the Commonwealth quickly. And if you're not aware, the Pulaski shelters are those little blue, they look almost like little blue phone booths that are all over the Commonwealth. And I think in the lore, they're actually repurposed phone booths. Okay, so there's two of them right there that actually lead you to two different places, but we can't actually use those yet. We need a key. Now, I'm trying to think the fastest way around. I think it's this way. I am running about 250 mods, if I didn't mention that before, so there is a little bit of stuttering. Okay, so we've come up to the first Pulaski shelter. Asia production facility requires terminal. So I can hit E all day, nothing happens. Now, it says that the terminal is hard to get to. Well, they weren't kidding. Get up here. I don't have my power armor on me, and instead of having to go back through the loading screens, we're just gonna slide up here this way. But normally just some power armor, jump jets, shoot up here, and there you are. Come to this terminal. Remote door control, unlock door. The just in case section just kind of says, just in case you get here too early and need a little help, there's a secret bunker. So first I will show you the bunker before we go down into the shelter. Now I am running a few mods that make the vegetation higher, so it is right here, directly across from the shelter. Now this little area is basically a very simplistic player home. It has a few things you could use. You have your armor workbench, your weapon workbench, some robot repair kits, which we'll take, and some initialization chairs. These essentially put your armor on and off. So sleep for an hour, and when you wake up, you are strapped into the chair with your armor. However, I really don't want this armor on, so let's take it back off. There we go. All right. So now let's go ahead and change our clothing for a moment. I actually might not have any I can wear in here. So yeah, so we'll go to an unarmored jumpsuit. That should be what I'm thinking it is. Yeah, that works. Okay. The other side of this tunnel is just a bathroom. That's pretty much all it is. You can sit on the toilet. That's about it. You can take a few bobby pins, drink the water. That's all. we're going to leave here. And sit through another loading screen. It's a little weird to be streaming on Twitch with 0 viewers, but oh well. It's all for fun. Okay. So, we're going to head into here and see what's going on. I'm kind of imagining these shelters like the old, maybe like James Bond movies, or even like Spy Kids, where they go in and the whole thing goes underground and then pops back up empty. That makes the most sense, at least in my head. And again with loading screen. That will be the advantage of Fallout 76, is the loading screens and the mods. Well, I should not say the loading screens, but the mods will all work better together. And if they do it as ESLs, I'm really wondering if that's going to make it so that we can have as many mods as we want, or if ESLs will cap somewhere. I really don't know. But it would be it'll be fun to find out. Now, some of these locations with this mod are quite large. This one is probably the largest. That's what I'm moving into. And several others are located in other world spaces. But again, the size of this one is almost the size of the Institute itself. So it's pretty big. And we may have crashed going into it. I hope not, but it looks like that might be what happened. There we go. Okay, sorry about the wait. Now, here we are. Where are we? Well, this takes you to the General Atomics Galleria. Commonwealth. Parking garage. This is actually in the Glowing Sea. Cambridge. Back again to the Commonwealth. And the Commonwealth. Each of these are different locations. Don't recall which ones they are off the top of my head. That requires a terminal to unlock. Now we can open the door. Now this area does kind of bug out sometimes. In terms of certain NPCs don't do what they're supposed to. There's a few interactions that are kind of out of place.
Yeah.
All of the security units here are friendly. There is nothing here that will attack you, so you can just relax. Now, this is just a remote door control. And a couple of these don't actually do anything. So for example, this, you would expect this to come down. It doesn't actually, and you're just kind of here. Now, for purposes of just curiosity, we'll send the free cam in. And as you can see, there's nothing really implemented in this room. It's just kind of there. There is something we can do in this room though.
Yes.
And it is actually in here. And it is a little jittery on my end. It's not just you. Now, from that CIT key we got, we can access CIT R&D, which is the other Pulowski shelter, and a door in this facility. Now, there's a whole lot of information here, and I could probably do a video just reading all this off. There's a lot. The basic gist of this is that Asia, the artificial intelligence that we got our start from, was created before the war. Then after the war, she managed to propagate on anything active she could find. Now, once the Institute started producing synths, she was able to remotely take over some synths. She found the Institute mainframe still up and running. She basically, from what I can gather, downloaded herself into that and was kind of running off their systems for a while. She was also running up other synths, that way spreading her influence, spreading her program out. She made 4 generational models. 1 is really basic, just circuits and wires, that sort of thing. 2 started to involve a little bit of organics, and 3 was almost completely human looking, with 4 looking completely human and actually being made of organic matter and nanomachines. Basically what the mod implies is that this program was running alongside the Institute's synth program. Neither one built off the other one. These were just running concurrently. Now, the essential network activity, I'll give you the basics. You have phase 1 through 6, and then a catastrophic turn of events. Essentially, the Institute figured out what's going on. They kind of intervened, and bad things happened. You get to Research and Development Facility Network, and you see all these different directives. Now, these are missing. The unauthorized network connection is basically Asia trying to access her own systems. Now, what we can do from these, you have facility maintenance, which is directed by Aria. And the dates are all over the place. Before the war, after the war, up to pretty much current day. Now, what happened is, the short version is, the Institute tried to stop Asia from uploading herself into another unit. The unit in question was actually in Nora's pod. In this version of the story, Nora died off very early on. This body was placed inside at some point before the events of Fallout 4. Even possibly to the point where the scientists were still there from the original Vault experiment. But I'm a little iffy on that timeline. Now, she did manage to get herself partially uploaded into your body, but that's why you're not her, is the transmission didn't go properly. The Institute tried to cut it off, which resulted in you being a new and unique life form. And so now we have to pretty much figure out what's going on. And in terms of, we have to find the production floor. That was where we were being directed to in the last terminal that we found in the CIT ruins. And I think it's this way. Now, you will find a lot of other androids. I'm going to upload this to YouTube, so I can't really show off too many of them, because some of them forgot to get dressed today. and every day.
Terminal only.
This room, I don't believe actually has a terminal. But if you're curious, we can slide in and take a look. We have a terminal. And we have some bodies in tubes. We can come back to this later. But for now, let's continue with what we're doing and go down this tunnel. Now, in here is a production facility. We have a security model, a nurse model. Oh, don't want to shoot him.
Huh? Yeah.
Now, these chairs let you switch between generations. So if you want to retool yourself to a certain generation, you're able to. Now, as you see, there's all these military units. Everyone's just kind of idle. Nothing's really going on. They're producing some more synths, but or some more units using Institute technology. Which at one point Asia did download Institute Tech, but that's, I guess, how they found her out. Now, sort of a welcome home. Now, this is where our physical form was first assembled. It was also meant to be a social training facility. The idea was they were going to bring humans here, kind of train them in how to act civil, and then send them back out. That was the idea. But the Institute got a hold of it, infiltrated the security units, which then took control and allowed the Institute to take control. The Institute then sent out the units to pacify the raiders and other groups to make them a little more docile. Now, there's a hidden research facility here. And with it, we have we will find a nanite sequencer program that we'll use we can use via our Pip-Boy. Now, it does say the military training facility is where we need to go next. And I want to say that's level 50. And this area has been alone for decades. Now, the military training facility is easy enough to locate. It will be, I'm going to say back in here. Actually, I think we might need to go this way first.
Yes. Can't pick this.
Okay, we do need to find the military facility first. While avoiding looking at the haptic robot people. Okay. Because, you know, uploading places and stuff. Now, some of the smaller terminals that I passed, they only give you a brief overview of what is actually there. So they'll tell you basically a little bit about the Gen 1 synths, the Gen 1 version or the Gen 2 or the security version. And aside from that, they don't really say much at all. Now, I think through one of these areas that we're able to, we need to go. I forgot where I'm going. Back downstairs. Okay, where are you gonna go? Maybe this way. Oh, nope, that's where I came in. Oh yeah, it's this way. Okay. So it's back to the main way, into that main common room, into the social training facility. And from there, we'll have access points to other locations around the Commonwealth. Now, I really gotta say that I love this area here with all the water flowing to the center. It's probably one of my favorite places. Now, the area that we're going to be looking for will have a terminal. There's Hotel Asia, which I'm guessing you can think what, you know, half-naked robots in a hotel would be good for. Now we're going to unlock this door. Now, this right here, I'm going to turn God mode on. Whoops. Oh, don't want to do that. Just for showing off this is really fun to do without God mode. But you're gonna see why I turned it on here in a second. This is, without God mode, this is probably a fun 20 to 30 minute fight. There we go. That is the insanity of this area. But we're not going to go through it taking out every single turret. That would be insanity. Yeah, it's cheating, but judging by the dead bodies, yeah, this is quicker. Will I come back here and do this the right way? Probably so, because like I said, this is a lot of fun, and this place will also respawn over time, and it's an amazing place to get materials, because so you can see fuses and ammo, and you get circuit boards and power relays, vacuum tubes, I mean, all kinds of stuff you can pick up from here. But what we're after is at the very top of this, in the vertibird. Whoops. Well, if I can get into it, that's weird. That is really weird. Usually I can slide right into it. Okay. Alright, now usually there's an item in here. There it is. The maintenance corridor key. Now, we're going to head back to the facility. As quickly as we can. No, it should just be a straight shot across, I believe. Yeah. Or not. Maybe it's this door. Nope. Might be the next one over. Well, got it wrong again. There we go. Okay. Alright, so here we go back to the production area. We can put the gun up. We don't need to kill anybody. Whoops. Wrong turn. Did I? Yep, I did. I think.
Yes.
Okay, so here we are back at the production facility. We're going to head all the way over.
Yeah.
Slide behind these crates. Okay, almost slide behind these crates. Spooky tunnel. No, that grate, it doesn't even do anything. And as you can see, there's something going on down there. So that's where we want to go. We have a couple of ways we can do it. We can pop this hatch. Or I think we can even pop a hatch over here. And for curiosity's sake, there's nothing at the end of this. It's just a dead end. But now that we pop this right here, we can drop down and speak to Arya.
Excuse me. Yes.
Who has very little to say to us other than yes. At least she's agreeable. Now this is just random stuff you can pick up, you can use, you can trade off, or use for settlements. Now there's a staging chair, a suspension chair. This one is basically just for your character to sleep in. That's it. Staging chairs stage different levels of... They set different levels of what you are, basically. And come down here. And if you look, this is where Arya's been experimenting with human brains. Because all these people are headless. She's preserved the bodies, but if you notice all that, and some of them the hands are gone, some the hands and the head. She's essentially taken the parts that she's needed and disposed of the rest. Now this one will take you back to the outside the Siati ruins. But we're not done here yet because there's something that we need. Now on the table is Arya's completed body. It's her body, it's Asia's body, excuse me. Completed, but the upload failed. So Asia's done. And we are now, whoever our name is, we are what's left of the project. Asia only exists now as essentially holotapes and recorded info. Possibly it still exists out there in the net, what's left of it. But aside from that, no. Now this is the Asia nanite sequencer. We can use this to switch between variations of ourselves. And you can pick Gen 1, 2, or 3. I'm probably going to go with... might go with Gen 2. And kaboom! There you go. Now, our Asia Prime terminal is here as well. This is basically everything you saw from the terminal in the other room. There's not really much difference. I think the observations wasn't there, but aside from that, it's there. Now, the difference is Asia Prime decided that using the Asia models for sexual purposes would subdue and help refine the human population. Initially, she was against it, so I'm not sure if this is the Institute corrupting her overall programming, or she's actually seen benefits to this and that the Raiders, in a sense, aren't as violent. But that does it for this section of the mod. There's a little bit more to this. There's finding the 4th generational room that takes place around level 50. I might cover that one. It's a little more tricky to get to, and you do have a nice random encounter outside. Out of the 3 times I've done it, once was a super mutant fighting another one. Once was one guy wanting to shoot a lookalike because he thought he was a synth, and the other was just some random raiders. The lookalike version, though, is a random encounter, and that one's interesting in that neither of them is a synth. Now, I've heard there's variations, but when I found this this event, they're both brothers, and they're like twin brothers that have been separated at birth or separated very young. So they don't know that the other exists, and they just assume the other's a synth. So for, fun, I killed them both and looked, and they didn't have a synth component. But thanks for watching. I'm going to step off for now, and have a good time.